All right, class, welcome to part 2 of location. Now, part 1, which you should have watched already, part 1 is relative location. In part 1, relative location, we talked about the fact that it's everything that is around a particular spot. So if we're talking about what is the relative location of a country, tell me, and I said 4, tell me at least 4 things, but tell me what are the countries or physical features that are bordering that particular country. Well, this is part 2. Now, part 2 is absolute location. So with absolute location, I need to know, can you tell me specifically where something is located? Now, if you have to tell me specifically where something is located, we have a slight problem. We live on a planet, and planets are spheres. So let's take a look right here. So if we were to go a little bit of traveling, let's take a look at our globe. We're going to bring our globe right over here. So take a look at our globe. Our globe's on our platform. Now, think about a globe. This globe is nice, but how on earth do you tell where something specifically is located? What do you say? Oh, it's in the center? Well, the center of what? How on earth do you do the center? If you say it's in the top corner, really? The top corner? Is there even a corner on the sphere? No. So how on earth are you going to actually explain to someone where a country is specifically located? Well, this is why we create a grid system. And this grid system is called longitude and latitude. So take a look over here. I'm going to get up really close. So you notice we have these lines right here, even on the globe. We have these lines of longitude. Longitude run north and south, but their measurements are east and west. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you have these grid systems, so we have longitude lines and we have latitude lines. So latitude lines run east to west and their measurements are north-south. We'll talk about that. But you notice these lines intersect, and those intersections allow you to pinpoint specifically where something is located. By the way, there's the equator. The equator is 0 degrees line of latitude. This grid system also splits our sphere. By the way, please note that these are imaginary lines. So it's not like you're going to walk, and if you don't duck or something, you're going to run into one of these lines. So these lines are imaginary, but it's a grid system that's put on this globe, all right, or any other map to help us pinpoint certain countries or certain cities. Now let's take a look over. We're going to walk away from the globe, away from our planet, and we're going to walk over here. So take a look, and this is what happens when you do things and you don't have editing. All right, the cord hit the camera, so you got to turn it all the way around. So I hope you guys aren't too dizzy. Now let's actually take a look. Let's pull this off of our desk. There we go. You know this will probably happen again before the day's out, right? All right, let's take a look at this. All right, so anyone see our globe here? Now, if we look, take a look here. Line of latitude. Lines of latitude are parallels. They measure the angular distance north and south from the equator, which is 0 degrees to either pole. Now, if that sounds really complicated, let's take a look here. Now, those are lines of latitude. And I want you to think of latitude like a ladder. So even though these lines run east to west, you say north-south latitude, because think about it, the equator is 0 degrees. So this is kind of the foundation. So if you have a country that is here, and it intersects with 15 degrees, that's 15 degrees north of the equator. So think like a ladder. This is the 0 degree, and so you can climb south, you can climb down the ladder, but obviously this is geography, so we don't say down, because that wouldn't make sense. We say south. So you climb south, or from the equator, you can climb north. So 15 degrees north latitude, 30 degrees north latitude, 45 degrees north latitude, 60 degrees north latitude, 75 degrees north latitude. 15 degrees south latitude, 30 degrees south latitude, 45 degrees south latitude, 60 degrees south latitude, 75 degrees south latitude. So those are latitude lines. I also want you to think about this. The equator splits the Earth into hemispheres. So a sphere, we know that a sphere is a ball. A sphere is a ball. Well, hemisphere is half a sphere. So this equator divides the Earth into the northern hemisphere, and the southern hemisphere. So if you think about continents, there are some continents that are only in the northern hemisphere. The entire continent's in the northern hemisphere. There are some continents that part of it's in the northern hemisphere, part of it's in the southern hemisphere, and then you have a continent like Australia that's completely in the southern hemisphere. So that's one way of dividing the Earth. Now let's take a look at longitude. Look what longitude says. Lines of longitude are meridians. They measure the angular distance east or west from the prime meridian. Now, if that sounds complicated, it actually is not. So let's be simple. Let's take a look at this. So we have the 0 degree longitude line. This is called the prime meridian. Some of you have probably heard that term before. Now, just the prime meridian longitude lines, they run north to south, but their measurements are east-west, because think about it. You are measuring the lines of longitude from the prime meridian. So the prime meridian is 0 degrees. So look here, here's the 15 degree longitude line. So from here, you always start out with the prime meridian, and then anything here is east, because think about your compass rose, in case you forgot. Never eat soggy waffles from part 1. So think about it. If you look at the prime meridian, you go, okay, from this 0 degree prime meridian line, this is 15 degrees east longitude, 30 degrees east longitude, 45 degrees east longitude, 60 degrees east longitude, 75 degrees east longitude. Then you can look and go, well, from the prime meridian, I can look and go, all right, 15 degrees west longitude, 30 degrees west longitude, 45 degrees west longitude, 60 degrees west longitude, 75 degrees west longitude. Now, what is the point of taking these two, the latitude lines and the longitude lines, and creating a grid system? Well, they will look like this. See if we can do this without the light bouncing off of it. So think about it. You have your longitude lines. They're going to go so like this, and they intersect with latitude lines. Let's see if we can try that again, and this time with the camera focused. So you have your longitude lines that are going to intersect with your latitude lines. So for instance, we could go right here and see that, okay, we're in North America. So let's just pick any intersection in North America. So if we look here, we can see, oh, look, 90 degrees. Let's follow this 90 degree line until it intersects in North America. And this 90 degree west longitude intersects with 45 degrees north latitude. Right there, sorry. So 90 degrees west longitude by 45 degrees north latitude. So I want you to remember this. If nothing else, let's go ahead, disconnect this. Hey guys, we're back. How are you doing? So a couple things I want you to remember. Longitude will always measure east and west. So never should you say, oh, that is north longitude, or that is south longitude. Longitude will only measure east-west, because you take the prime meridian as 0, and then you say, okay, what's east of the prime meridian, or what's west of the prime meridian? Latitude is only going to measure north and south. So you take the equator, and you have to ask yourself, all right, is this latitude line north of the equator or south of the equator? You should never say east latitude or west latitude. Latitude will only measure north and south. All right? Now let's take a look. We're going to move this over here. We're going to move our trusty globe out of the way. And let's go ahead and set up our tripod and our webcam. You know what's going to happen, right? This is going to slip the minute we do this. So let's see if we've got this set. All right, ready? Did it slip? Hey, it did not slip, but we definitely need to go ahead and tilt this a little bit so we can get the entire TV in there. Okay. Now, if you notice, I've given you a world map. You can see a world map now with a grid system. The grid system being longitude and latitude. So here's the prime meridian, which is at 0 degrees. The prime meridian runs through Greenwich, England, and you can see where the 0 degree prime meridian line is. So let's say someone said, hey, Mr. McGee, could you give me the longitude and latitude for any place in Sweden? Okay. Well, Sweden is right here. So Sweden, this is 0 degrees prime meridian, this is 0 degrees longitude line. Here's 15 degrees east longitude. So this 15 degree east longitude line runs through Sweden. That's awesome. But now I need the latitude line that intersects with that longitude line. So from here, you can see 60 degrees north latitude because the equator is right here. So the equator is right here. We can see the 0 degree equator line. So 60 degrees north latitude, it's north of the equator. So here you go. I can run the 60 degree north latitude line and it will intersect with Sweden right here. So I can say Sweden is 60 degrees north latitude by 15 degrees east longitude. That's basically how longitude and latitude work. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a part 3. And that part 3 is going to show you how to practice longitude and latitude, because some of you right now, I know you're looking at this video and you're going, I have no idea. I'm so confused. Longitude, latitude, what am I going to do? That's why I'm going to create a practice video for you, which is part 3. For those of you who understand it, I still want you to look at part 3. One of these days I wanted to edit that out, but for now you're kind of stuck with it. So I still want you to look at part 3 because I'm going to give you not only some practice tips, but I'm also going to give you your assignment for absolute location as well. Let's try again. I'm going to give you your assignment for absolute location in part 3. So again, listen for part 3, and we'll go from there.